Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you again. Today is Friday, and we are here to talk about our stories of hope. I am excited to introduce you to our first guest. Coach Teon Singletary embodies a remarkable blend of military leadership, executive prowess, and expertise in neuroencoding, serving as an inspirational figure. He is influenced by the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, Les Brown Power Voice System, and Neuroencoding Institute. And he infuses his endeavors with magnetic energy, urging individuals to embrace their full potential. So for those of you that are feeling a lack of purpose in your life, a lack of hope, of feeling like there may be blocks or limitations in the way, Coach Teon is here to support us with that. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here. It is a pleasure. What I like to say is it's a pleasing pleasure to be amongst greatness here today.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so great to have you. We were talking earlier and you were saying that you are currently overseas. Where exactly overseas are you?
Can't exactly share exactly where I'm at overseas, but I'm just enjoying the good traveling in life.
Okay. So something got you into this line of work. Something brought you to this show today with this message about why you're helping people achieve their highest potential. And so did you experience this in your own personal life where you were looking for more purpose?
Yes, I was on the receiving end in my early years of living, trying to find purpose for myself. Like, why am I here? Why am I walking on this earth? Like, what is my life? Or like, what is the thing that God has created me to do on this place we call earth? And for a while, I was running around, walking around, stumbling around like a zombie, trying to find out what that may be. But as we journey on this road called life, we gain some experiences, we gain some things that we can be able to implement in our life to become better, to grow ourselves, to strengthen our weaknesses and strengthen our strength at the same time. But at the same time with that, able to share those experiences with others so that it may empower them or spark some inspiration into their life as well, so that they can be able to do the same thing, or to be able to change for the best for their life, and to face their fears and don't be afraid of failure, right? Some of the things that hold us back is failure itself. But we got to be able to gain the courage to persevere and push forward. And life will test you with that, right? Life will test to see how thick and how strong your backbone is. And if you have a strong foundation, you will find success in the front, in whatever obstacle that may be trying to hold you back. So life, I just enjoy life, all right? Because life just gives us the opportunity to learn and grow ourselves each and every day.
Yes. And so when it comes to facing fears, what would some of those fears be that you come across when people are facing fears and they feel like, it prevents them from moving forward. What would some of those fears be?
Some of those fears can be fear of failure. It could be fear of what someone may think of them, fear of not meeting up to the standard of others, and even standards that they may have set for themselves. Just standards that really doesn't matter in a sense, right? Fear of just, okay, I'm here, but what's next? The fear of the unknown, right? Most people are afraid of the unknown, and that sometimes that can cause people to be in a paralysis, to freeze, and sometimes run away from what's standing in front of them. But what I like to say is that fear stands for false everything. What faith stands for false evidence appearing real. But what we have to do is we got to be able to flip the movie script and create our own movie scene and say, face everything and rise to the challenge. So when we are able to rise to the challenge, it gives us the encouragement. It gives us the inspiration, that fire that is deep down inside of us, the tenacity of a lion to go after and get it. Like it does something in the inside. And once you find that fire in the inside, man, no one will be able to stop you. No one will be able to hold you back because you are facing your fears head on. Like I had a fear of scuba diving, right? Deep water in the blue sea, just sharks swimming all around you. I do not want to do that. I don't want to dive all the way in the ocean, deep down in the ocean by myself. But last year, I decided to face my fears. I went to find a scuba diving school. I told them I never did this before. We went in the middle of the ocean. That fear starts sneaking in, right? I put on my wetsuit, put on everything, ready to jump in, and fear just knocking on my door. But I had to say, fear, you stay there. I am going to do this afraid. And I jump in the water, and the rest was history, right?
That's
Facing your fears. So, I mean, your fear can be anything, small, big, it doesn't matter. But you got to be able to just have the strength to face it head on, and you will thank yourself later once you do.
Yes, because you are, the fact that you did that, and then, it was just like a movie playing out. The fear was going to come and test you, like you said. And then you said, yeah, I see you, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then you did it. And now that fear does not have a hold on you anymore. That fear doesn't have control over you anymore.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, I was able to accomplish so much more since that time of facing that one fear. And it surprised me. And now that I try to live a life to always face my fears. Once I recognize the fear, I know it. Now the goal is, how can I defeat it? Right? That just having that tenacity inside of you to say, okay, I see you, fear. So now what's next? How am I going to defeat you and defeat it? And every time you defeat it, you get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah. And then there's nothing then, once you do that and you're in the rhythm of that, there's nothing then that's going to hold you back from rising into your highest potential.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, only person that's stopping you from doing anything in your life is you. So move yourself out of the way. Right? And get it and go after it. Go after whatever your dream, vision, or goals may be. Like, like no one is stopping you. The person that stops us the most is ourself, our self-limited beliefs, our fears, and we just holding ourselves back. Just look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and you will see the person that's holding you back. So remove
Yes.
that person out of the way, and let's move forward with whatever God has in store for you in your life.
So how do people, are you on social media?
I am. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter by the name of Teon Singletary. That's simple. TeonSingletary. They go to my website. That will link them to all of my social media outlets and websites at www.teonsingletary.com. Very simple. I like to keep it simple, stupid, as you see.
So are people able to work with you one-on-one?
Yes, they work with me one-on-one. They can work with me in group settings. All depends on what their needs are. So it's if you are a company and you have a group of people that you need support with, I'm here. We can work as a group. I do masterminds. I do short trainings. I can do speaking engagements virtually or right now it's all virtual. Here next year I will be able to start doing face-to-face again. But currently I'm in the season of virtual.
You're in the virtual season.
Yes.
But next year you're planning on being more in person,
Yes.
up close in
Up
person.
close and personal, all in your face.
Yeah, great. Well, I think it's wonderful. So many people are struggling these days with, fears that aren't real and holding them back. And I think that the work that you're doing is really, really important because we came here. One of the things that I liked when you started telling your story early on is, who am I? Who am I and why am I here? And what's my purpose? And, asking those type of questions also takes courage to really go deep and find the answer. So I think that's really good that that you have stepped into your work so that you can then support others to step into theirs.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much, Teon Singletary. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to now take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show, and then we'll be right back, everyone. Our next guest today is Linda Henderson. She's a retired nurse who has spent 37 years caring for others. Experiencing the tragic loss of her daughter, she became passionate about helping others navigate the journey of grief. She's written a book, and together with her career, she was determined to increase her knowledge of suffering. She has certificates in professional grief and development, coping with child loss, bereavement counseling, and her journey has shaped her and also given her the determination to live life to the fullest. Welcome to the show today, Linda Henderson.
Thank you, Cornelia. It's my pleasure to be here.
So just a tragic loss when all of a sudden life changed for you unexpectedly. Would you mind sharing what happened?
My daughter, Andrea, was 27 years old, pregnant with her second child. She was at the prime in her life where she had that dream wedding, fell in love, had the dream wedding. She had a 2-year-old little boy at home, was pregnant with her second baby. They had just purchased a house, August of 2011, and she was killed in a car accident, December 20th. 2011. Her co-worker and her were stopped turning left to almost 2 blocks away from their employment, and a transport truck driver who was distracted, texting and driving and having an argument with his girlfriend on the phone, hit them, pushed them into the oncoming traffic where they were hit yet again, T-boned, and the driver, her co-worker, and Andrea were killed instantly.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That is like, oh, wow.
It's one of those things where, we all hear the radio, listen to the radio, the news, and hear of stories like this. And, your heart goes out to the families, and then you sit back and think, oh my gosh, that's not me. Thank God that's not me. But now it is me. And it has been for 12 years, almost 13, December 20th.
December 20th. So it's almost 13 years.
Mhm.
And what were those first couple of years like?
The first 3 years were treacherous. I had to deal, it took 3 years before the trucker, the court case was resolved. And every day, it was on the radio. I don't think I grieved in those 3 years. I just existed, constantly hearing his name, constantly having those triggers. It was, not not good. I was heavily medicated. I was on antidepressants. The first 6 months to a year, I felt like I was just existing outside of my body. I wasn't, my heart was beating, but I wasn't really connecting with life. And then slowly life enters in. I connected with a support group. In those days, Zoom meetings were not a thing. It sounds like it's so long ago, but things always change. And so I did have a support group with about 5 or 6 mothers, and that became my lifeline. And my physician who adjusted my medications, and then I had counseling. I had the same counselor for 9 years. I was really blessed with that. So slowly, with help and, being around like-minded people and just being able to work through the grief, I got to where I am today. Time is an interesting thing, isn't it? It's a passageway and we go through, and sometimes you don't even know how you got where you are at this present moment. And that's just what it feels like right now.
Yeah, I mean, the people have always said, for a parent to lose their child, that's one of the worst things that parents could experience. So, and then
Mhm.
for it to be so traumatic and such a shock, it's just so
Mhm.
unexpected that
Yes.
it's something. And so now you've turned all of that. You've healed yourself, with your team around you, the right support group, the right counselor, all the things that you did. And now you found a new purpose and you're giving it back now. You're supporting others that are grieving. You also
Mhm.
wrote a book. What is the name of your book?
My book is titled The Road of Love and Hope. About 9 years into my grief, one of my main practical things that I used in my healing was walking. And I walk 45, 50 minutes a day. And that's my time where I can just walk and I can scream and yell and cry and argue with God and talk to Andrea, release all my tears, release all my emotions, and then come home and I'm ready to take on the next wave, the next afternoon. That was my therapy. And I came home and said to my husband, that's it, I'm going to write a book. So my book, The Road of Love and Hope, that's how that came to be. And since it's been published a year now, and I'm just on a journey of self-discovery. And I think I've been grieving more in the last year in the healthily way than I have up until that point, because I'm passionate and I now feel stronger than I have ever felt. I think sometimes, to have crushed and have to build your life from ground zero. And then I'm stronger now than even when I had Andrea.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I mean, I totally can imagine with you being able to say that you are even a year ago, even 2 years ago, that you are still grieving and a deeper level of grief, like another layer, and another layer and another layer. And
Well, it's
so
like an onion, right? Layers and layers and layers of grief, because under the umbrella of grief, there's depression and anxiety and fears and anger, and all of those things just invade every cell of your body. And I mean, that some of them become lifelong. I mean, I still deal with depression on some level every day. And it's just a matter of realizing that's just the way it is. But I do feel the strength to overcome and become the best version of me possible.
And is your book on Amazon now?
Yes, my book is on Amazon, and I also published a book that Andrea wrote when she was in high school in honor of her. It was a little project, and she had to write a children's book. So I had that published, and that's called Spooky Meets a Friend. It's about a little cat that learns how to share for ages 2 to 6, and that's on Amazon as well.
Yeah, keeping the legacy alive, keeping her alive.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
that's
it's
really
about
beautiful.
love and honor, and that creates your hope,
Yeah,
whether yeah.
yeah. And the self-discovery journey, and even you mentioned your husband. How's your husband doing with your healing and everything that you were going through? Were you able to support your husband through that process as well?
Actually, I have to say no. He became, in that first year, especially the first year and the months, leading up to that first year, he was my caregiver. I mean, I was going through such anger. I had, so much anger, and he was my sounding board. Like, he's my rock. He's the one who helped me. I didn't know anything about computers. I was a nurse for 37 years, and I'm aging myself, but we didn't use computers to the last couple of years. So I didn't even know how I was going to get on the computer and write a book. And he's been my rock. He has been my rock and support through this whole journey.
Well, that's really wonderful. It sounds like you just had the right team of people, including your husband, the
Yeah.
right people around you, and so that you
I'm
can.
very fortunate, because I realize, and there are so many people who don't have that.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very blessed to say that I have, him, even, to this day, to understand when I'm having a bad day and I have to just go to bed, and I don't care about supper, right?
Yeah, that's so good. I want to let the audience know, are you on social media, or do you have a website or anything like that?
Yes, I'm on Instagram, and I don't think I have, the handles here, but I think I gave them all. Instagram, Linda Henderson. I'm on YouTube, Linda Henderson at Mama Pain, and I'm on TikTok. I had a website. Currently, it's being refurbished and getting another one, but I can leave my email address, and if anybody needs to get a book, I can give a free book for up to 5 books for someone who's in desperate need of hope. And I just want to reach out and help that way. My email is lhenderson24@cogeco.ca.
That's very generous of you. I just, I know that grief is a very difficult journey to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it brings us closer to our divine self, our relationship with God, if you believe in
Mm-hmm.
God. And so the fact that you're helping others, giving
Mm-hmm.
back this way, it's very nurturing. It's so nurse of you.
Well, I guess it just kind of, it aligns with who I am.
It does.
After the crushing, after my life was crushed, I just came back to me and a better version of me again.
Yeah. Well, Linda, I'm so glad that you came on the show today. I want to thank you so much. We're going to continue on sending you blessings and healing for your continued journey. And we're going to take a break now on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome Welcome back, everyone. Tiana Trinidad is a registered nurse. She is a PCOS coach and founder of Love Served Warm, a concierge coaching service that helps busy, high-achieving women with PCOS naturally lose weight and get pregnant. With over a decade of experience in women's health and hormonal imbalances, Tiana is passionate about guiding women to balance their hormones, overcome fertility challenges, and reclaim their energy and confidence. Through personalized coaching, Tiana supports women in breaking free from limiting beliefs and transforming their health journeys. Welcome to the show today, Tiana.
Thank you so much for having me.
So as I was telling you just before we went live, this is something that I experienced in my younger years where I had that. And I think that I had 2 miscarriages and never got pregnant. And so, and then later on in life, you know, how the cysts would form, right? And so did you find that with the PCOS, how to heal that or how to lessen that? Are you able to support women with that?
Absolutely. I help clients reverse their symptoms naturally through evidence-based practices and evidence-based science, right? But I think that the most important part of it all, and the one that's overlooked, is our mindset. Is like I feel like so often women who have PCOS find out at the tail end, maybe after suffering miscarriages, after struggling with infertility. So it's already, the failure is already set in their nervous system, and they already have the belief that nothing is going to work for them. So I believe like that's the first part of dealing with women with PCOS is breaking down that limiting mindset that, you know, my favorite quote is, until we make the unknown known, it will rule our lives and we will call it fate, right? So I think that's the first part, is giving ourselves grace and tackling the mindset, and then moving into everything else, because all of this is preventable, and lifestyle changes at its root can positively impact not only PCOS, but so many other things that we're dealing with on a daily basis.
So how did you, I mean, I know that you're a nurse, but how did you feel aligned in this direction to go? What was the driving call for you to go in this direction and support women in this?
Yeah, I want to be completely honest that it was brutally selfish, right? It was like me crying in the middle of the night to God, like, how could I take away my pregnancy, me as a labor and delivery, me as a NICU nurse who has gone to, you know, law school. Like, I really love what I do, and you took that away. So I remember just groveling on the floor, just being like, God, if you would allow me the chance to be a Pinterest mom, I will show so many other women, but like, give me the chance first, because I've delivered so many pregnancies. I've saved so many babies incompatible with life. How could you take my first? Right. And I remember finding a mindset course through Yale. They were doing some sort of I don't know, where they have like free. And I remember taking a mindset course and just learning about mindset, and about that was a gap, and that the gap most often with us is that we're the generation of information. And so we have everything available at our fingertips, but the gap is the implementation. And once I learned that, things started to click. It's like, okay, we don't perish because of lack of information. We are overstimulated in a capitalistic society, and we don't know what to do. So the first step is to begin with the mindset, to begin peeling back the layers of even understanding what is possible for ourselves.
That's very personal. So I think that was really beautiful. And you do have children today, right?
Yes. So after creating, you know, doing everything and going through this framework, I have 2 beautiful babies. I went through several miscarriages in the second trimester, and I was so close to giving up, but I have 2 beautiful babies who light up my world, and motherhood has been absolutely intoxicating, to say the least. And it is a feeling and a sentiment that I just want to share with so many women. But I want them to avoid the tragic beginning that I had to experience to get here in the first place.
Right, right. So, first of all, congratulations. How old are your babies?
They're 8 and 4.
8 and 4. That's awesome. You seem like a wonderful, wonderful mother. It's really something when you're really wanted, like your children were really wanted.
Absolutely.
They were really, really wanted. And that's really, really something, because they were born with that. They could feel you wanting them, right? And so that's a beautiful way to be born, to have your mother really, really want you, and your father too. But it being in the womb and having that energy in the womb, that's just something special about that.
Thank you. And I feel like my kids exhibit that in their energy. They're so loving. They're so, they're really amazing, not just because I'm their mom, but I just feel like it's something about that energy that has really transmuted through them. And I believe that they're like a blessing to just, that love. It's recognizable when you see it, when you notice it, you feel it. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then even, when you were in the fetal position, crying to God, like, why? And that, you had to surrender. You had to, be surrender. You had to be like, I really, give me a chance. I really want this. So and then you had two children that were really wanted after the experience of not. And so there's just something so sacred and special about that. And the fact that your children are so happy to be here, that, they're really, living that and showing that, and that they're so loving. It's wonderful. And your children are our future leaders on this planet. So it makes it even more special, makes it even more great. The polycystic syndrome, break it down. Polycystic ovarian, is it how PCOS? I mean, break it down.
Yeah, so PCOS is known as a collection of hormonal imbalances, right? And its name would lead you to believe that you have to have a cluster of cysts on your ovaries to be diagnosed. However, that's not the hallmark symptom. The hallmark symptom for PCOS is actually menstrual dysfunction, which is so unfortunate, because as young girls develop menstrual dysfunction in their young puberty age, the first thing they're met with is birth control before they're even given a chance to understand their hormones, to have hormone balance, to go through puberty, right? We understand that birth control is it's not a solution for PCOS. It's a known carcinogen. And it just causes a host of complications in young women, such as anxiety, depression, and it just creates additional risk factors, right? So instead, I believe that we should be teaching young girls body literacy, cycle tracking, right? Empowering them to be the director of, to be like the driver of their own car, for lack of better words, right?
Their own chariot.
Exactly. To be the first one to identify when there is a hormonal imbalance present. Mm-hmm. If I could sum up PCOS in a nutshell, I would say it's like I live in South Florida, and if I love my house a nice, like cool 68 degrees. If I was to come in and my AC was, and my house was hot and humid, I wouldn't throw the whole house away or assume something was wrong with the house. I would understand that the internal thermostat that is supposed to regulate the temperature of the house is not functioning properly. Much like women who have trouble sleeping, regulating their weight, anxiety, depression, facial hair, and other issues, they're having an issue with their internal regulating system, their hormones. Therefore, these symptoms are secondary to the root cause.
So good, so good. And I see how this is directly related and connected to, and I'm sure in the future you'll be diving into this as well and going more into it. And it's directly related to menopause and having, a harder menopause than going through it, not with severe side effects and issues. When you can get that when you can get your hormones regulated now, when you're in your younger years, as you then move into menopause, because there's so much to learn still about menopause. That's why I'm saying, there's a whole field. But I'm sure these two are connected because I experienced a very, challenging menopause. And so I can speak to it. But I want to let the audience know how they can find you on social media, how they can look you up.
Yeah, so on social media, I'm at Love Surf Warm on all social media platforms, and my website is lovesurfwarm.com.
That's easy. Love Served Warm. I mean, that is easy. What made you come up with that name? Love Served
But
Warm.
like love is what's missing in healthcare. It's profit driven, and we're missing the love, that connection, and that's what I seek to provide.
Yeah, look, it's clear. I'm very happy that you're doing this, and I'm really glad that you came on the show today. And may you find so many women that you will support, so that we can give birth to healthy children here and populate, right?
Thank you so much. It's needed now more than ever, right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so
Me.
much. We're going to take a break, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. I have Ronnie Morgan. She's with us, and she says that she's a queer, neurodivergent disabled writer, a blogger, a virtual assistant, and designer. She specializes in helping ADHD, and medical complex business owners with Squarespace websites, course setups, graphic design, social media, content creation, and branding. When she's not working behind the scenes for small business owners, she can be found creating vinyl stickers and apparel for her art business, Club Bionic Art, and working on her next book. Welcome to the show today, Ronnie Morgan.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you were saying in the green room before we came out that you've overcome a lot of medical challenges, and how you can't work in a regular business, and that how you've had to pivot. So do you want to take us through that story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a hairstylist for 10 years. And for the last about 2.5 years of that, I owned my own business. But for about 5 years leading up to the end of that career, my hips started deteriorating. And nobody could tell me why. I was otherwise healthy. I'd never had any big medical issues aside from like endometriosis, which I had learned to deal with. And it got to the point where I could barely walk. And it took leaving the country, went overseas, got medical attention there. That's when I found out I had to have my hips replaced. Came home, had that done, but I couldn't go back to doing hair anymore. I thought that when I got my hips replaced, everything would kind of go back to normal. And that did not happen. It was a cascade effect of more medical issues. They couldn't figure out what was going on. So in the course of all of that, I'm trying to figure out what's happening to my body. I'm trying to build a new career online because I had to work remote. I can't, as you stated, I can't really work in a normal work environment. It doesn't work for my flare-ups and the things that I deal with. So I started coaching initially and realized pretty quickly that I really liked the back end of the business. I like setting up websites and doing tech and automation and social media and things that most people hate to do. So I was really working hard building that and getting involved in different communities. When I finally learned that I have something called hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's something that's being talked, it's a mouthful, first of all. But it's something that is starting to be talked about a little bit more. It's a disorder that causes all of my connective tissues to be weak because my body creates faulty collagen. So that's why my hips gave out. It's why I have instability in my cervical spine. It's why I have pretty much every issue that has come up aside from my endometriosis, it has created. So it's kind of like whack-a-mole. There's no cure for it. You deal with symptoms as they come up, which is the reason why I had to really create a new life for myself. I couldn't do a lot of the things that used to bring me a lot of joy, things that used to help me cope. I love to run. Can't do that anymore. So, there's just a lot of things I've had to relearn and redefine myself. And it's caused me to have to take a really hard look at myself in many different ways. What was I utilizing as a crutch instead of doing the work that I really needed to be doing? And really dig into who I am and what I value. So it's been a long journey. I'm pretty stable right now, medically and all of that. Like things are in a good spot. We've got my medication worked out. And I'm working really hard on rebuilding my business. And it has been such a journey since this all kind of started around 2017, 2018 is when I stopped being a hairstylist. And when things just sort of spiraled out. 2018 is when I had both my hips replaced. So it's been a long journey, but you know what? I honestly wouldn't change any of it. So
Wow. You wouldn't
yeah.
change any of it? Because you are connected with yourself now, you feel pretty stable?
I do, incredibly so. And it caused me, like I said, to take a deep look at myself in many different ways. And, it led me to where I've got the successful business. I've got my art business on the side. I'm engaged. Like I have all these really amazing things happening in my life. And, I don't know if I would be here if I hadn't had to have taken that close look at myself. And when you're recovering from major surgeries and I was in the hospital for over 2 weeks when my neck started to get unstable and my head was hurting all the time. And you have a lot of time to sit and think and evaluate what's important to you. So I don't think I would change any of it. It's the card that I was dealt. And I think I like to believe there was a reason for that. So that's what I focus on.
I think it's great. And I also like, like what you're doing, that you still have your art business and you're doing that, which is, stamps and whatever you were doing with that, and that you're also doing website work, that you liked that and that you were able to identify, hey, I'd rather do this. I like that. I like be more on the techie end of it and
Mm-hmm.
do that, right? And that you were able to identify that and then start building your life around it. And it feels like, because, I was going to ask you, but then you answered, I was going to ask you, how long has it been since you've gone through this whole piece? And when we're looking back 2018, not that long ago,
Mm-mm.
but not that long ago, so much change you've gone through during that time, and you've completely reinvented yourself, plus had your foundation, your hips.
Yeah.
Your hips is your foundation. It's moving
Yeah.
forward. It's hip, hip, hooray. Enjoy every day, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I mean that you had that done, and that, so now you're building upon that. And you said your medication's great, because the energy that I'm getting from you is, I just feel you feeling really good.
Mm-hmm. I
So
do. I do. And it's also, in the midst of all of that, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and deal with major depressive disorder. And I've had to balance that too. Like those are more things that I have had to figure out and work through and find the right balance of medication and lifestyle changes. And it's, like I said, it's been a big several years of self-discovery. So,
it seems like self-discovery, and then also not being victimized to where you are, because
mhm,
it could have really knocked you out, but for some reason, the strength and the perseverance, and the encouragement that of what you had to face and deal with, that you're doing that, and then you can look back now and go, wow, I've come such a long way. I've
mhm.
overcome all of these things, and not to say it was easy, or that it's fair, right?
Right.
Because it certainly isn't fair.
Nah.
Um, now, but that you literally, like, even though you're taking medication, some
Mhm.
things you're going to have to do for forever or whatever, but that you are able to take care of yourself and still enjoy life from this place where you're at today.
Yeah, it's been a long road, and there have been missteps along the way. There have been low points. There have been, I got out of a really unhealthy relationship late last year, and that whole relationship really derailed me for a while, and I wasn't myself, and I didn't have the energy that I typically have. It was, so there's been so many moments that I've had to really dig in and redefine and reevaluate. And yeah, being on medication and figuring out what works. And then, like I said, figuring out lifestyle changes and, doing things that excite me that I can do. I took my first aerial hoop class yesterday.
Wow.
Let's do it. Like, I'm all bruised and sore today and I love it.
So good. Aerial hoop. I've done
Yeah.
aerial before, but I don't know if it was called hoop. It was some aerial yoga, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Aerial
Yeah.
yoga, not aerial hoop. I want to let the audience know how, you're doing administrative services, personal assistant, various different things, how people can look you up on social media, your website, how can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me very easily on Instagram. It's at Ronnie Morgan, and that's RONNI Morgan. If you add the E, you're not going to find me. You can find me. I have a blog site where I kind of chronicle my health journey, and that's ronniemorgan.com. And then if you're interested in my services business-wise, you can either reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, or you can find my website. It's rootedsocialcreative.com.
rootedsocialcreative.com. That's awesome. I'm really impressed with, your journey and with what you're doing and how you are approaching it. And after having come through it, like I said, it's very encouraging and inspiring, the way that you are approaching this and have approached it and recovered and now showing up for your life in a new way.
Thank you. Thank you for that acknowledgement. It means a lot.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, everyone, I want to thank you so much for tuning into the Cornelia Stephanie Show today. We had some amazing stories of hope, and that's something to remember. There's always hope, and that's why we're doing this show, is to continue on spreading hope to everybody that needs it. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you again next time, everyone. Take good care.
You've been listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Cornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Cornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at corneliastephanie.com.